Hello. I'm never sure when these things are actually live. So if you've already joined in, make sure and say hi in the comments. We'll wait just a few minutes to see if anybody joins on. Okay. Well, if you're new to this page, my name is Yashi and you're on the Mind of Yash blog page. So thank you for joining. If you were wondering why I'm not Cindy Sense and I have this, it's because I have a very special guest today. So if you didn't know, follow my page so that you could see when I post updates. So this month of September was the PCOS Awareness Month. And polycystic ovarian syndrome is something that affects a lot of women, and based on the talks that we've had in the past few weeks, it's actually very prevalent in Trinidad and Tobago. And we've just been talking about the different ways that women can manage their symptoms naturally and even mentally, and just keeping a positive mindset. So we've talked a lot about how this condition affects the women themselves, but we haven't really discussed how PCOS affects their partners, their significant others. And I'm sure that as much as it is a struggle for the women, it must be struggles for their partners as well. So tonight, I have a very special guest to be here with me to discuss how a significant other would deal with PCOS. And that guest is my significant other. So my husband Dar-ling is here to join. So as per usual, I'm gonna let him on with a little music. Just imagine he's coming through the curtains.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dar-ling, I'm Yashi's husband.
Enjoying the music.
You know this song?
Okay, let's not get into that again.
Alright.
Yeah, okay. We just had a whole thing about why I should know that song, and I do know the song. I mean, I just didn't really know the lyrics for for 8-10 years.
It's longer than that?
Yeah. That's okay though. That's a song that's special to both of us, even though I didn't really know the lyrics. And he did. Well, he likes it. It's his song. So thank you, husband, for accepting my invitation.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me to be here. It's a pleasure for me to join you in your live, to be the first live guest in your live. I appreciate it.
Well, live in person.
Live in person.
Yes.
So we don't have to social distance. We could be next to each other. I really appreciate that. I made sure I dressed up because I was the first person to be live in person on your show. So I really appreciate the invitation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because we all fancy up here, but you don't want to see below the camera.
Yeah. That's one of the beauties of doing this via the internet. You just need up here.
Yeah.
That's all. From here up.
Yeah.
Here down, it's not that fancy. It's very casual.
Hi, Ria. Oh, she says her favorite couple. We love you.
Oh, thank you.
We love
thank
you.
you.
I know, right? Hat and jacket. I'm like, where are you going?
I had to dress up. I had to make it formal
This is the bedroom.
because we have a very special show this evening.
He just wanted to be fancier than me. He always does that, you know.
Well, when you're next to somebody that looks this good, you have to do all that you could do in order to be next to them.
Oh, we already married.
I
Okay.
had to work hard every day.
Okay, so let's just get right into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here as well, we're tonight going to talk about polycystic ovarian syndrome, and not just how it affects women like me who have been diagnosed with it, but also the gentleman and meets like Darian, who also has to lyrics, we're gonna say you have lyrics, who also has to go along on the journey with you, you know, whether they wanted to or not. And I would like to think that they want to because they love us. But I'm sure it's very hard for them too. So if you are a woman with PCOS and you have questions of how, you know, we deal with that, or if you're somebody who is in a relationship with somebody who has PCOS, then you can ask the questions as well. So I actually have some questions for my husband. So I'm gonna get right into it. So the first question, well, okay, this first question actually is for both of us in a sense. So a question that we got on Instagram was, did I know about my diagnosis before marrying my husband? Now, my husband, we were in a relationship straight out of A levels. So I guess that's 18. We were 18. Yeah, he stalked me apparently, and yeah, we got together right after school, and it was around the same time that I would have been diagnosed with PCOS. So he has actually been with me on this journey for as long as I've been on this journey, at least as far as I knew that I had the condition. So we didn't really talk about it in the beginning that much. I can't really remember if we did that much.
I think we just knew it was a thing, and then we didn't know what would have been the effects going down the road.
Yeah, we were pretty young, I would say, then. I always tell people that when we got together, we were kind of in that naive type of love where I was like, you know, we don't need
You put
money.
love in the gas tank.
We could drive.
Love could pay the rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we were pretty dumb. So
You were just young and in love.
Maybe not. Maybe
just
dumb is not the
young
word.
and in love.
So I don't think we really understood the gravity of the condition at the time. But I don't know. So talking about it, did you understand fully what you were getting into when I was diagnosed?
I had no clue, and even when we started to kind of experience some of the effect, because we've been together for almost half our lives. We've been, yeah, because 33, 34, we've been together for almost half our lives. We have at least known each other for almost half our lives.
Yes.
And that's a long
I'm
time
not really doing
to.
the math right now, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust us, it's a half our lives.
Yeah.
So just by virtue of being around so long, in the times that we were discovering about polycystic ovaries and everything, they didn't one, we didn't have that much information about it, and the information that we did have, it seemed like it would not have been a very big issue, at least from where we were looking, because of where we were in life. It's only until after we were married and later on during our marriage and even up to the time where we were trying to conceive, it really kind of became a factor, and we didn't realize that it was kind of also causing some underlying issues as well.
Yeah, I would say now Darren is very different to how I am, where it is he's not fazed by a lot, in the
More
sense that
go with the flow kind of,
he's very go with the flow.
Take it easy, wear a hat and a jacket and a very, very bright neon green t-shirt.
In our bedroom.
Yeah.
But, so I think, I mean, I can't remember exactly, but I guess I would have had more of a difficulty with my diagnosis. Well, of course, because I'm dealing with it. But he probably would have looked at it more positively, as in, like, you know, it's not something for us to worry about too much right now. Because, of course, when you're now diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, what you hear first is that you might not be able to have children. So at the age that we were, that children was the last thing on our minds. In fact, I think before I met Darian, I wasn't even sure I would get married or find somebody to to be married to. But that's a whole other. Actually, no, it's something that I would have dealt with that PCOS probably didn't really help me with, because I think I had issues with relationships without even being in one, just from what I've seen around me. Not around me, but like examples of relationships not really working out all the time. So I already had that in my brain, and then to be diagnosed with PCOS, it would have probably been, tenfold. Not just thinking about how it would affect somebody that I'm with, but also just dealing with, like the hormonal imbalance and the highs and the lows that you would go through, the self-esteem issues. So yeah, it was a lot, and I didn't really think of that PCOS would have affected me that badly, but it did, and I didn't really know how to deal with it properly, and I think that in itself was quite a strain on our relationship without us actually even realizing it was a strain, I think. So if you guys have questions for Darian, please don't hesitate to leave it in the chat. Okay? I mean in the comments. So, my question for my husband. So did my PCOS diagnosis matter to you?
I mean, it mattered a little bit, but at the time, again, when you received the diagnosis, I think we would have talked about having kids maybe because we were very, very early on in our relationship when you got the diagnosis, and I was very sure that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. So I think we discussed having kids, and the possibility of us not being able to conceive never really came up, because I didn't think that would have been. I always am of the view as well, whoever is meant to be will be, and if it's not, then we will find another alternative. So that didn't really matter to me as much as when you receive the diagnosis. It actually started to matter when it started to affect you. And one of the things, well, you know me, I like to fix everything. I don't like anything that's broken, and I don't like to not have a solution. And at the time when the effects really started to take place and started to affect your self-image, and it started to affect certain things, I really felt kind of lost because I didn't know how to help. So that's how it affected me in that way.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much I could go into that, I see somebody's asking somebody symptoms of PCOS. Well, some of these symptoms of PCOS, well, the fact that they call it a syndrome means there's like a variety of things, and it affects women in different ways. And I found out even recently that there are slightly different types of PCOS. Excuse me. And it includes things like acne. You have male pattern baldness, so you lose your hair on your head, but you have excess hair growth in places that like a woman wouldn't really want to. We spoke to Patty last week, and she was just saying, that's all kind of like just society being hung up on aesthetics. Everybody has hair in certain places, but as we know, men are generally screwing this COVID bad. But we would have things like that, excess facial hair. We would have insulin resistance, so women with PCOS tend to be more prone to develop diabetes. What am I missing? You have problems ovulating. You have the excess weight, though there are instances where women who are not overweight can have PCOS. It doesn't make you not vulnerable to it. You can have it. And even in my first 2 years having PCOS, I was very underweight for my height. So there's a range of things that can happen. So it's really like a metabolic reproductive condition, really.
I see somebody asking.
Okay. Oh, it's okay. So nurse is asking if I found anything that could help with it. Um, yes, yes. And actually, we even spoke to. If you look at my past two lives that I spoke with ethnobotanist Francis Morin, he spoke about a lot about some local herbs and how that can help. And also Patty Garcia, she's a midwife and also an expert on women's alternative health, and she spoke about how she uses like womb massages and vaginal steams to help with the symptom where women have is not having periods regularly, and also to deal with the pain. So there are some ways that can help. For me, um, it's always a combo of exercise and eating well, but it's very difficult to stay consistent on that. I think this year is the first time
Yeah.
I'm
I think this has been one of your best efforts in trying to maintain your diet. Your I don't want to say diet, not trying to diet to lose weight, but diet to eat right, eat the correct things, eat well, eat to be the healthiest version of you. I think that has been a consistent effort for this year because it has been a struggle for a very long time. And the exercise is really number one. Zumba instructor really take it up a notch. I sat in on a class the other day. I actually did it, and I have to apologize. Zumba is a really tough workout. I am accustomed to weights and push-ups and swimming 10 miles, but that Zumba thing, just to keep the coordination and to exercise, that's a lot.
Yeah. So exercise definitely, and the type of exercise as well, because it's a combo of you can still do cardio, but also I forget what they call it, like the ones that's not too restorative exercise, like walking and yoga and those things, and then some high intensity interval training. HIIT. It's those like resistance training. Those are very good for women with PCOS. Now my goal is really not to necessarily lose weight, though I do check the scale. Sometimes I feel a change in my body, and then I look at the scale, and scale's like, no girl, but still the same weight. But you working, you're changing. You're not gonna see it in the scale as you would like. But I'm sorry to say, like, diet is like the number one thing. So I'm working on it, and I want to work with some people in the coming months who can help us with that. And I say us because I need the help too. There's one thing, saying that you're gonna eat healthier. It's another thing when you go to try to buy healthier things and it's expensive. But I mean, you could a market run, like, guys, I'm starting to feel for vegetables.
And that is a big deal. That is a really, really big deal. I want to believe that I've been a positive influence in kind of causing that, because I've been pushing the veggie train for a really, really long time. I am actually kind of vegan. Like, I'm a vegan who eats fish. So
yeah, he's a pesca vegan.
Yeah,
that's what
I'm my own brand of vegan, and it's kind of been a struggle to convince her to give up the chicken.
Yeah, that's grilled chicken. I can have grilled chicken.
But we're working on healthy alternatives, and it has been a journey. That I know could be its own episode, actually.
Yeah. So I think So, but just to continue on the discussion that we really wanted to have tonight, just what he said there as well. It's so important that your partner is supportive, because if I am trying to eat healthier and exercise, and then he is not, then it doesn't really work. And especially because he could, and that's a little frustrating, and any woman could relate as well, that he could put on weight. I mean, when we now got married, I felt so much pride that I was actually cooking and feeding him, and he was putting on a little
trying to make me fat.
A little dad bod, and I liked it because I don't know, I did.
Doesn't last long.
And then he went into training for a few weeks, and he came back like, you know, like
the
snatched.
MAGA president.
Snatched.
President of the MAGA Man Association. That's how I came back.
Yeah. So that's tough if you have a partner with that. So you need to have that support to stick to the journey, and it's not gonna be perfect, right? True. I've been on this up and down for years, but only over the last year or two or so is when I really started to change my self-image, and that alone helped me to be a little bit more consistent. At least want to be. I desire to be. Okay. So let me go back to my questions for you, Darian. Oh, wait, did I tell them that your name is Darian?
Yeah, we did not. I said my name is Darian.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. I was grouping to the song that I know so well.
Forget my name, all kind of thing.
I know so well. I love that song. My favorite song.
Yeah, sure.
So, I know we kind of touched on this, but I'm still going to ask you. Was having a child very important to you? And how did you feel knowing that there was a chance that we couldn't? Like when it mattered, like when we really we're ready to have children.
Then after we got married, again, I always wanted not to say a big family, but a family of my own, especially when I met you and you were so amazing. I wanted us because...
What is it all this? What is it with all these lyrics?
Truth is the truth. Even though it sounds lyrical, still the truth.
He's like this all the time.
Yeah. And I really, really wanted to have our family, to have our complete unit, especially, well, I don't know, we might delve into that at another time, but you know all the things that we've been through in life. And it was really important to me that we have a family. And I really, again, I looked at it as, well, if we're going to have a child, we're going to have a child. There is no two ways about it. And if we can't physically have a child together, then we could always adopt, because that was one of the things that I want to do still, and we talked about it a lot. Everybody needs love, and I have a lot of people out there who, again, they love that they need. So even if we couldn't have a child of our own, we would still have a child, and that was my view of it. It didn't matter about your diagnosis, and if your diagnosis made us unable to have children. And I even looked at it from the perspective of, it doesn't have to be you, it could be me, you know.
Oh yeah.
And if it's that, like, how are we going to deal with it?
That's true. I think there was a point in time where we weren't really sure if it's, I mean, we knew that I had PCOS, but we did have a thought, it's like, well, what if it's not me? What if it's you?
What if it's me?
Yeah.
It wasn't. We have a child.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess so, but I really wondered if it was a change in diet too.
It could be the vegan lifestyle, guys. Vegan lifestyle, that helps with a lot.
Somebody do a study on that, okay? Pesca vegan, he's not all the way vegan.
So it didn't really matter, and I think I'm very thankful for my kind of go with the flow attitude, because it really helped, or I would like to imagine that it helped kind of take some of the pressure off of you.
I would say so, but I think I didn't make it very easy for him. Because you have to agree so, vehemently with me. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it.
Okay. I could spell it.
That's good.
I'm not really good. I'm good at spelling, he's good at pronunciation.
I know a lot of words.
Yeah.
But I have dyslexia.
Yeah.
So
excuses.
Life.
Yeah. What was I saying?
You were saying that it was difficult for me.
Oh, I made it difficult for him.
Yeah.
I think. Because I didn't mean to. Or maybe sometimes I meant to, I think. In the sense that I tried to push him away a lot of the times. Because I was thinking that if he had to stay with me, he had to deal with all of me. So not just the fun, smiley, charismatic, Yashi side, but the side that would have panic attacks, the side that would just have days where I would just cry for like no particular reason, but just not feeling good about myself. Yeah, it's making me emotional just saying it. He'd have to deal with possibly being with me and not being able to fulfill his fatherhood dreams. It meant, not having a wife that had the perfect body, because my views is different on that now too, right? A wife who, for whatever reason, was not all the way whole in herself. And I would say that it wasn't anybody's fault but my own, because my view on PCOS now is that I am more than my diagnosis. It is a part of me, and it is a pain point for me, but I have tried to pivot and make it part of my purpose. And that in itself changed a lot for me. But for the years, and guys, I'm talking about, this is just 2 years ago that I've actually pivoted. So that meant, let me do the math now. So we're eight years, then we were 7 years together before that. That's 15 years. Minus 2, that's 13 years. So that's about 13 years. I used to be good at math, but I'm not good at quick math. I need to write it down. So that's about 13 years of us being together that I would have had those self-esteem issues, self-image issues. And he took it like a trooper, but at the same time, it was having, oh, hi, Cerise. She said, hi, Yashi and hubby. That he would have to go through that up and down with me. And on top of that, me telling him, well, that's kind of preempting the next question, but well, my next question was going to be, what were his, I call it PCOS spouse struggles. Oh no, that's not what I said. PCOS spouse struggles. The PCOS spouse struggles. And if he had any points of frustration. So before he could answer that, I was just gonna say that I would push him away a lot. And when he would say things like, I love you.
Taking parts of my answer.
Or
stealing or, from under me. Yeah.
Or you're beautiful, I couldn't accept it. So take it away. Take it away. What were your points of frustration with that part of my PCOS struggle?
I think it was really just one point of frustration because of how the PCOS affected your self-esteem. And then that kind of caused a chain reaction of affecting different things. So it affected your self-esteem, it affected your self-image. So then when I would come now, because it's very difficult, especially when I think I'm a sane person, I think I have eyes and I could see, and then I tell you, well, you look very beautiful today, and you look this way, or I really love you, and I really think you're sexy, and I think all these things, and then you look at me like, why? Like I'm so fat, or I'm this, or I'm that, and I'm thinking like, well, can't you not see that I really think like I think you're questioning my honesty and my integrity in the early. That's how it felt, because I don't think I would lie to you, especially because I love you. I try my best not to lie to you. And then it was difficult to understand why you would think that, especially like if somebody else told you something, and then you would take their word and you'd be like, well, they don't love me, so it must be the truth. Because you think that like if I love you, I would try not to hurt your feelings. I think you know me long enough to know that that's not true.
Yeah.
And the fact that you would do those things kind of played on, because I didn't realize the issues that I had, and the self-esteem issues and the insecurities that I had. So you doing those things kind of made me feel, well, she's not that way, so maybe she just doesn't want to be with me, and she's looking to create something or create some kind of excuse so that I would be like, well, oh gosh, she's fat, I can't be with her now, and try and break up or something. And that pushing me away, especially because I have abandonment issues. Pushing me away didn't help. So that was kind of a pain point in our relationship. And it was only until we really started to communicate and talk about certain things and really get down into the discussions around polycystic ovaries and our insecurities and all these different things that I really kind of understood that it wasn't coming from a point that you wanted to push me away, because I really didn't understand. Like, I really didn't understand. So, and there was actually a time that she bought because of her self-esteem and body issues, she bought a neck exerciser.
Listen, I specifically told him, I spoke about that already.
I laughed
and we're not
so hard that day.
it.
Because I think she had some kind of, she didn't order it from, she got somebody else to order it, first of all. And then she tried to sneak it in the house. And then when I saw it, and I asked her what it was for, I had the biggest laugh. I wouldn't lie, I spent like half an hour laughing at how, and maybe it was a little bit insensitive, but to me, it was extremely funny to think that.
It's very insensitive.
And only after I started to think about it,
I wish I'd kept it.
that something affected you so much that you would buy such a ridiculous device.
Listen, it had
No possible way.
There are reviews
No possible
about
way
it on
that
Amazon.
That would work.
Which means
But-
that other people bought it.
Okay.
But okay, it
But
was a ridiculous purchase. Okay?
It was
but,
so ridiculous, and I didn't realize
It makes sense too.
how it doesn't. The thing, like, you put it under your chin, and then you kind of did this, and it's supposed to exercise your chin, and do away with the fat
Listen,
and give you a better jawline. I don't understand that, but anyway.
I don't know the science.
So just thinking back on that and kind of meditating about it made me realize how deeply it affected her. And then I really started to kind of do the research and try and be more understanding and more supportive. It was because again, it's difficult to go through 15 years of a relationship with somebody. When she was a twig, she thought she was fat. That was the problem that we were facing. And I never ever thought she was fat. And that's the crazy thing about it.
You wanted to marry that twig.
Yeah, because you had a nice personality. You get it? No, sorry. And it was very difficult to try and resolve the person that you love going through that and not really being able to take it away, and also that they were doing things to make you feel that you weren't that they didn't want you to be a part of their life. I think was one of the major issues that we struggled with in our relationship. And then, well, that caused a lot of things, a lot of long nights and a lot of tears talking about those
Both
issues.
Tears.
Yeah, I cry.
Okay.
I cry. It's
Mostly my
perfectly
tears.
fine. Men can cry. I cry manly tears. But it was a struggle for us to kind of overcome that, and we still going through it. We're still talking about it. We have conversations about it all the time, and it has really led us to open the lines of communication with each other and really go deep into the things that affect us and affect our self-esteem. Because it's easy for me to put on weight, but I lose weight very quickly, and I always had a problem when I was younger about being too skinny, because I was, again, president of the Magaman Association. I was in charge of Magnus. I couldn't put on, I was like 140 pounds, and the wind would blow me over. So that was always an insecurity of mine also. And those things are you get married and you don't realize that those things are deep-seated issues that you never dealt with. And then when things happen, they kind of resurface and they cause pain points in your marriage. But we're working on it, we're talking about it. Communication is key.
It's a work in progress. I actually read today that is something that's really needed, especially in dealing with PCOS. It's a continuous dialogue. And just to add to what he was saying, I think I had a complete, not a great self-image. And I think what I would do is that I would try to push him away to see if he would stay. It was a very...
Why take that chance? Don't play them games.
I don't know. I don't know how
I have the rule of patience, but I don't know.
So kudos to you for sticking around. I mean, I have to deal with things with him too. So
Yeah, I am not easy
that's
to deal with.
that's a whole other episode. But yeah, I think I built this thing up in my head that he said something earlier that I wanted to tease him about, but that I was broken, that I, whoever stays with me is gonna have it broken, and you can't go, I can't fix this. This is something I just have to deal with it. So let me see how far I could push him to see if he could take it. And once I know that he can, then we could go through this. But unfortunately, it would happen as a cycle. I would do that to him. We would, be okay, and then it would happen all over again. And I didn't realize how much, because I was thinking that I was this weakling, and he was the strong one. And he is strong. He's very strong. But me doing that was hitting his weak spots. And if you hit it enough times, then it will break. So
only so much you can take.
So we did reach a point in our relationship like that, where it was like everything, and when it kind of happened after we had my daughter, and there was a bunch of other issues with that too, because with having PCOS, the pregnancy in itself was something I was worried about. From the time I found out I was pregnant, as happy as I was so worried and scared that, I couldn't take the baby to term. And, so a lot of that happened during our pregnancy, and then having to adjust afterwards as a mom, and having to give him the attention. Don't worry, this is, I don't know. I'm gonna get a little emotional. And all the issues, everything that we were both dealing with, just I can't find a term for it. It just collided.
It erupted. It initially the pressure point, and it erupted because it's very difficult to have to contend with all the pressures of life, and then you're worried about bringing, because it's your first child. You worry about bringing them into the world safely, if they're going to have 10 fingers, if they're going to have 10 toes, if they're going to be healthy. On top of that, there is a chance that because of, for Yashi, how the diagnosis is, it's possible, even though they say a lot of miscarriages happen with your first child, that it could be elevated because of the PCOS. And then we were told that we needed to take particular precautions because it was our first pregnancy and all of those things. So then that was even added pressure. And then I couldn't carry the baby.
You couldn't help me out.
All I could do was rub feet and bring food. And that kind of made me feel like inept to a particular point, because I really like to be more involved and to help as much as I could. And that feeling of inadequacy and feeling like was my point, really.
I had days during the pregnancy, I thought that too. Like, what are you really doing? You did this to me.
So all of those things are difficult to deal with. And then, again, we never really resolved all these things that we were talking about. Over the past 2 to 3 years, we've really now started to get into those issues about certain things in our relationship, and really opening up the line, because we have known each other again for over 17 years. It's been a while. We've known each other since A-levels, and you think you know somebody that long that you would really understand them and get to know them, but two things happened. One, we weren't living together until we were married, and all the conversations that we had, there were some very, very deep philosophical very soul wrenching conversations, and then there were others was like, you like the show, you know, and we didn't really get into the meat of the matter. And then when you're living together and you have to contend with each other and you all start to butt heads because your personalities in that close space really brings out everything about you that you don't show over the phone or show in a text or these things. And then two, being together for so long, people change. And your core values may not change very much, but things that you like change, the dynamic of your relationship would change. And all of those things were things that we had to contend with on top of all of that. So
you're making it sound like it's a pan and a pan. Okay, we have good times too.
We have very good times. Too. And that's one of the beautiful things I think about our relationship, is that once we discovered the need for more communication, we both had the humility to admit that we didn't have all the answers and that we didn't understand, and that we needed to communicate and talk to each other and really try and get each other's point of view. Get each other's point of views and try and even understand each other more, because
is it points of view?
Points of views.
Oh, points of views. I think it's like the points of view.
But we both have a view. There's two views.
So
I don't know.
So it's points of views. I think I'm right.
From the perspectives that we were coming from, and really try and resolve those issues. So.
Yeah, I think we went way past PCOS and we went into like marriage counseling. But there are a lot of points in there that can be applied to a situation with PCOS. It's constant communication, because there's currently no cure for PCOS. All you can do is manage these symptoms, and every day you might be feeling a different way. Like, you know, you might get up and you feel anxious for no reason. Sometimes I'm anxious and I don't even know why. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not worried about anything. Why is anxiety happening right now? Or I might watch a show that is, you know, not necessarily emotional,
right,
but it has an emotional aspect, and I would be bawling.
So on our honeymoon, and this was the first taste I got of that level of anxiety. On our honeymoon, that was way back in 2012. You know, we didn't have the smartest of phones. We didn't have like international roaming. We were in St. Kitts and Nevis in this wonderful, wonderful timeshare apartment. Beautiful little bungalow.
What is all this setup?
Just look, they had to get the ambience. They had to understand what happened, right? And the only place that had any kind of Wi-Fi for my little BlackBerry with the buttons on it to Google something was all the way down by the restaurant, and the restaurant was like 2 blocks away. So it was like 1 in the morning, and she just got an idea in her head trying to remember the name.
Can I tell the story?
Oh, you go ahead. You tell the story.
Okay, because that's actually something I wanted to talk about. Like, when I realized my anxiety was a problem, because I don't think I had anxiety to the level that I do now when I was first diagnosed. I think it. No, think about it. I think.
Well, that's true. That's true.
I think it grew. Like it became worse. And when I realized it was a problem, was when we were talking about that 70s show, and I could not for the life of me remember the name of an actress, and I could not sleep. I needed to Google it. Well, I needed him to Google it. And we had Wi-Fi, so you fix
We didn't have Wi-Fi.
We didn't have Wi-Fi.
The restaurant 2 blocks away had Wi-Fi.
You fixate on certain things, and so I made my husband, my new husband. He already married me, so there's no going back. It's like, can you please, at 1 a.m., go downstairs, walk 2 blocks, Google that 70s show, find out the name. It was Mila Kunis, by the way, and come back and tell me so that I could sleep, please. And I've had many moments like that since, you know. So kudos to you. So I think Narissa is asking the question. Okay, so she's asking any tips on how new couples can start a discussion on PCOS. it is a scary thing to bring up as you're not sure how the person would react to all this info. That's a good question.
I would say one, take it in bites. Research and get all the correct information. Don't believe the wives' tales. Don't believe the wrong statistics. And really put yourself in a frame of mind to understand that it's not I wouldn't say a death sentence, but it's not it doesn't prevent you from living life and being who you are to the fullest.
Yes.
And then your partner, because you married them, I think they should be
But
fairly...
she's saying new couples, like you're now in this relationship.
Oh, you're now in the relationship?
Yeah, that's hard. That's difficult, but I would say, well, if it's like a new couple, then I guess that means that you had some dates already and you've decided to have a relationship. And I think I don't think there's an easy answer. You just have to kind of start.
You just have a discussion around it.
Because I think we needed to have some more serious discussions.
Well, I think we needed to understand it first.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really understand it until after we got married.
Yeah. So I guess you do have to make sure you're informed. But and just kind of start it. It's like one of those just difficult discussions you have to have, especially if you're in this relationship and you're seeing a future with the person. You're just gonna have to have it. But there's a plane. I don't know if they can hear that or not. But it will have to continue, right? Because there are things, like we said, over how many ever years, 15 years or so. The conversations that we had back then and now are like completely different. And it just takes you being committed to try to understand the other person and understand where they came from, because guys, like, our background and the things that we bring into a relationship, even if we think in the beginning that that you could deal with it, you can deal with it, but I mean, like, you kind of feel like it's like, okay, that you're coming fresh and those things are not gonna affect you as a couple. Those things come back. It might not come back in the first year when you're in the honeymoon phase, or the second year, but they come back.
They definitely come back.
They come back.
And I would say, if it's a new relationship and this person,
they can hear you.
if this person values you and you value that person, you want to be with them, then it should be something that you all can tackle together. Both of you get informed, both of you grow, both of you know what the options are. And for that person, I hope that they would be supportive of their partner, because it's really, I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be supportive. It takes a lot, especially when you are... And a lot of things, I think we could have a whole separate conversation about how men deal with disappointment and deal with having to suppress their ego and try and understand how to be supportive to their partner, like truly supportive.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult thing, but even though it's difficult, it's very much worth it.
Yeah, and I think if the person, I mean, I don't want to say like break up with them per se, because everybody's dealing with their own things, but if you start a conversation and you're getting a response that, it might be like a red flag, and either a red flag or something that you see that you're going to have to work on. So I think either way, you just have to kind of start the discussions as
communication, as much communication as you possibly could. And even for guys, I know it's difficult for us to find strength to communicate and even to be able to articulate how we feel, because we haven't been, well, we're not living in a society that allows men to have the freedom to communicate their feelings. That was one gaffe. We're not living we're not living in a society that allows men the freedom to communicate how they're feeling. Either you're weak, or
things like satiety,
man, or so many different things. So it might be difficult for your partner to really express how he feels and to even internalize and understand exactly, because I have had a long journey in trying to understand my life up to this point and the things that I did and the behaviors that I have and what influenced them. And there's a lot of introspection, and I don't think we are given the freedom to do that level of introspection and then to communicate that now with our partners. It might be seen as weakness, it might be seen as a fault. No man wants to appear vulnerable to anybody, and even more so to give all that ammunition to somebody early on in a relationship. So it is about knowing the person and understanding how to communicate, because we communicate in totally different ways. Our love languages completely different, but we still find that middle ground and try and find that mechanism where our messages don't get lost to each other and that we could communicate effectively. So communication, especially dealing with somebody's insecurities brought on by polycystic ovaries, is very, very important. Communication.
Oh, well, I guess you kind of answered my other question, which is what I was going to ask. Like, what would you tell people in your position to do in this situation?
Be patient. Understand that it might not be the person that you love driving you away, but the things that they feel about themselves, the things that they hear about themselves, causing them to have a particular viewpoint, and then that viewpoint spills over into other areas. So it's really getting down to the core of the matter first. Inform yourself, because again, early on in your diagnosis, I had no clue the gravity of the situation. I really didn't think about it as like you had a period. At one point you were having your period like every
three or four times a month.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks. And then it was like it would stop, and then you went on birth control and you started having a regular period. So I was like, hey, it's fixed. It's good to go. No worries. And even though that's my general attitude towards life, I wasn't informed as to how much it could affect her and how much it did affect her. And I really needed to do the work to really make myself aware of what was going on in her body, first of all, and then how it would affect her mental state and how it would affect me. Because anybody knows me, I'm a very happy-go-lucky guy. I'm go with the flow, always smiling. But it's very difficult to see somebody that you love and somebody that you care for so deeply and in a sense be unable to help them. But you can help. You can help by being patient. You can help by making yourself informed, and you can help by just being supportive. If she wants to go for a run and she feels to run that day, go out and run.
That's not even me. I don't like to run.
For a brisk walk, go out with her and be supportive. Take that brisk walk. Even though I don't generally like to be around people and in crowds, I am the most sociable, antisocial person ever. And so it's really putting aside your ego and understanding that you have to be all that you could for her, but also understanding what it takes for yourself to be that person.
Okay. So how do you feel I deal with PCOS now?
Well, no, and I stress on no, because you have been on this journey to kind of change your mindset, change your thinking, and really look at your body from a different perspective.
What about angles?
You look at your body from a different perspective, you look at your mental health from a different perspective, and your well-being, your overall well-being, you're looking at it from a different perspective. So I am really blown away that you're taking this stance, especially after being through, I'm trying to do the math, but it's a lot of years. But this is how we are not an old couple. We're quite young, but we've been together.
See my hairstyle?
We've been together for some time, so it's difficult to track back and really figure out how far we've been doing this thing. And after seeing that behavior for so long, and then to see that you're taking this stand and taking a particular stance with your body, with your health, and with your mental stability, I think is really amazing. The past 2 years, especially, I think our child has been the catalyst for a lot of change in your life, and then that change is just like how the PCOS kind of spilled into other areas. That change also spilled into other areas, so that you could deal with it before. So it's a complete 180 about how you were dealing with it before, because it was kind of frustrating, especially for me being solution oriented, trying to make suggestions and come up with solutions, and you being like, oh, and I feel like I'm kind of pressuring you, or I offer my help, which I think I'm helping, and then is not received as help, is received as something else.
I think a lot of the times, okay, so it's been quite a journey, right? So, and he was a healthier eater than I was. So when he would suggest it and things like, why you don't not eat this, or like look at me judgmentally.
Out of love
when I
and concern for your health and well-being,
I go for some KFC because I had a tough day. Mind you, when we now started, like, food was just our thing. We would eat these and food all the time. So I low-key thought that he was the cause for my weight gain, okay?
It's very early on in our relationship. We weren't allowed to... I would say we weren't allowed.
I didn't finish.
But, yeah. But we weren't... we didn't really date that much because we were in school.
That's a whole other story.
And she was,
my parents were very strict.
So we could only see each other at lunch times most of the times. In New Year.
No, wait, what are you talking about?
On the quad, we would go for doubles.
Oh, yeah. Like,
that was
when our first date was like doubles. But then doubles has been like a joy and a pain point. I
think we need to have more episodes so that we could discuss some of the... We've had the fun parts of our marriage. I would say, yeah. She had a fight and I had a what? Serious? Okay.
That's a whole other story. You see, no, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I think you were gonna say that I'm amazing and it's the best I've ever.
Yeah, that wasn't it. What was I gonna say?
You're talking about how very early on you thought that I was the cause of your weight gain with the food and everything.
Yeah, that was not it. Alright, I guess maybe I wasn't supposed to say it.
Yeah, come back to that one.
I don't know. I really can't remember, guys. I'm sorry. That's a thing of PCOS too. Like I really don't know if that's a thing of PCOS. Oh, Nicolette, you want the whole get together story?
You'll get that on the next one. That's for another episode.
That's a long thing. But I'll keep that in mind. We will talk about it. I will do it.
Short version. I told her that I liked her, and she told me okay. And then
there was silence.
Yeah, like
over the phone.
Like 3 months later, stalk her into submission. Yeah.
Yeah, basically. But we will do a video separately to that. I really don't remember what I was gonna say, but yes. So we're saying all of this to say that if you have been diagnosed with PCOS, or you have been dealing with it for some years, or even you're in a new relationship, or even if you've been in a relationship for some years, it's very easy to think that you as the woman is dealing with it alone, even though that you might have a supportive partner, somebody who's very understanding, who would, you could have all of that, but you still kind of feel alone. But you have to really think about how they are dealing with it as well, and how your mindset and the way you approach your PCOS condition is affecting them. And I didn't really think about that. I was just thinking that it's affecting me. Take off his glasses.
I wear glasses.
He's trying to read the comments when he's doing like that. Okay. He was supportive, but I was dealing with a lot and not really fully understanding how that was affecting him, because I was just thinking that he was this happy, strong guy that could really take anything. And he did love me through it. So I have to say a good job on that, because I really think anybody else might have given up very fast. But you have to think about it. I mean, like, they have to think about how you're dealing with it, but you also have to be kind of a little mindful about how they're dealing with it. So even if you have a bad day and you may have plenty with PCOS, you check in, you talk about it, you come back the next day, you apologize. Sometimes. But just cry. That's what I do. Even if you're wrong.
That always works.
Just cry and then it just feels like he's wrong. So yeah. Oh, as far as says, it's great to hear from you or how you cope and support it. Oh yeah, I guess he'll be on more episodes if you guys like him.
That's what I was trying to read. I don't have my glasses.
Yeah. He's a good guy. We've been through a lot. But PCOS is not, as he said, is not a death sentence. You can thrive with it. I've seen that phrase used, thriving with PCOS, and I love it so much because it's just something you have to deal with. Unfortunately, we have, like I said, you just probably have to wax a little more often than other people, or shave than other women, not people. But it's not the end. Women are so amazing. I really, really believe that. Like the number of amazing women that I have in my life and that I know and that I see. Some of you are watching tonight. I am blown away all the time. Even women who have PCOS, and like since I've started this journey, these Facebook lives, and women have come out and told me, that they've been dealing with this, I would have never known otherwise. Because they're just, they're just killing it out there. They're just living their dream. They're doing all that they can. They're
slay girlfriend.
They're like, they're trying to be fit. They're being awesome moms. It's amazing. And I think as a community, or like if we just talk about it a little bit more, be a little bit more open with it, then we can find that support in each other, and we can realize, that it's really not that big of a deal, honestly. And if you listen to the talks last week, Patty said that as a midwife, she's dealt with many moms who had PCOS, some form, but it's mild, or and she's delivered a lot of PCOS babies, as she I think she termed it.
We totally have a baby. And
we have a baby as well. Yeah. So it might be difficult. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. But if it's meant to be, it will happen. If it's not meant to be, there's something else in store. I really, truly believe that now. And as much as my daughter is a blessing to us, I don't even know where I was going with that sentence. She is a blessing to us, and she was the reason for a lot of change in our lives. And yeah, that's all I can really say. So thank you guys so much for joining in, for engaging and listening to our story. I didn't know what to expect with this. I thought I'd be bawling. I was a little emotional at some points in time. I didn't give him any notes. I have to usually have a code word if I find like he's going into territory that I'm not ready to talk about yet. But if there's something you want us to talk about in future with regard to PCOS, or even just in regard to relationships and that sort of thing, then
we've been through a lot. It's been quite a journey.
Oh, somebody saying that they have PCOS, and after she had her son, he got a lot of pain.
Talk to Patty, they do womb massages and they...
Yeah, I think I did. I think I did a womb massage with Patty after I had... It was a long while after.
She still haven't paid?
Yeah, I don't know. You mean, like, how long after? We probably need a little more information. You can probably message me. I could probably put you on to Patty. Garcia, she does womb massages and vaginal steams and other things that could probably help you.
Consider
so you could
changing diets and all these things.
Yeah, you can message me and we could find it. Because I don't think I really had a lot of pain after. At least I can't remember.
You did, but I think it was more associated with the birth than...
Okay, yeah, it was a little tough pregnancy. Well, a tough delivery, yeah. So yeah. Oh, but there's one thing I wanted to mention with my hairstyle. I usually don't have this type of hairstyle, but it was requested by my husband for an event today, and I just wanted to share that he actually did try to do this to me some years ago, and can you see? So see, he kind of did it, but look at this. Oops, here's some.
I think I did a fair enough job.
No, that didn't really.
She wasn't sitting still and let me do a good job.
I just wanted to share that. I meant to share that in the beginning and I forgot.
It's 4 months already.
Oh, it's 4 months already. Okay. Well, message me. Message me. I will talk to Patty and we could see if there's something that she could advise on. Okay. So thank you guys for listening. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. You women with PCOS out there, just remember that you're amazing, and we can do this together. And if you want a copy of what I came up with, a PCOS positivity guide, which is just some things that I did to try to keep a positive mindset, then let me know. I'll send you the link and you could have that for yourself. So thank you guys so much. Take care and good night.